will come to order. Welcome everyone. This is the Biennial Organizational Meeting of the Riverside School District 96 Board of Education. It is May 2nd, 2017. Margie, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Brockway?
Here.
Ms. Kleiber?
Here.
Ms. Mangia?
Here.
Mrs. Morello?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Murphy?
Here.
Mr. Regan?
Present.
Thanks, Margie. At this time, will people please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, is there any public comment? If there's no public comment, then the first and only item of business is the confirmation of the consolidated election canvass results. We have the official results from the Cook County Clerk, and we are pleased to welcome 3 new board members, Dave Barsati, Dan Hunt, and Joel Marhoul, and 1 continuing board member, which is me. There is no old business, so at this point in time, we need to appoint a president pro tem to administer the oath and conduct the nomination for president. So if everyone agrees, Rich, would you like to take that position?
Sure.
Okay.
All right. So let's move ahead with the administering the oath of office for the new members. We're going to step to the microphone over here.
Audience.
I had 5
Oh,
copies.
did I give you 2? Did I give anybody 2?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so I will we'll do it as a repeat after me. All right? As a group, all together. Face the camera. We should face the camera.
Yeah, face the camera.
Face your
This is what we do to our
constituents on the camera. All right? Okay. I state your name.
I am David Martiner.
Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of office of member of the Board of Education of Riverside
of the office of a member of the Board of Education of Riverside,
School District 96,
School District 96,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
in accordance with the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
and the laws of the State of Illinois to the best of my ability.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall respect taxpayer interests by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets,
I shall respect the taxpayer interest by serving as a faithful protector of the school district's assets.
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members,
I shall encourage and respect the free expression of opinion by my fellow board members
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
and others who seek a hearing before the board,
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
while respecting the privacy of students and employees.
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority
I shall recognize that a board member has no legal authority
as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote.
as an individual, and that decisions can only be made by majority vote
At a public board meeting.
at a public board meeting.
And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
And I shall abide by majority decisions of the board
while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
while retaining the right to seek changes in such decisions through ethical and constructive channels.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you, Rich.
Thank you. Congratulations.
So we change chairs
Now
right
we're
away,
changing
right?
chairs, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
But you all can't leave.
Don't leave, guys.
Don't leave, okay.
So if you guys want to take front row
Yeah.
seats, Randy, Mary Rose.
What do you want to say?
Oh, I just joking with you.
Not drinking
I
now.
appreciate you taking it seriously, though.
Randy's like done.
I've already got many of those from former jobs.
Hi, guys. How are you? All right.
There you go, right there. Just be in the front row.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we move on to organizational business. And the first item is election of officers. The first one is president for a 2-year term. We take nominations, right?
That's right.
Okay, do we have any nominations for the role of president of the Board of Education?
I nominate Jeff Miller.
Do we have a second to that nomination?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other nominations for president? Okay. Do we have any comments or discussion about this nomination? All right. We're keeping it simple, apparently. All right, so so do we do a roll call vote?
It has to be an open vote.
Okay. Margie, will you call the roll?
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber.
Aye.
Mr. Marhol.
Aye.
Mr. Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi.
Aye.
Ms. Murphy.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Motion carried.
So now I believe Jeff.
So, I take over the rest of the nominations?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rich. So the next item on the agenda is the election of a vice president for a 2-year term. Is there a nomination for vice president?
I nominate Linda Murphy.
Are there any other nominations for vice president? If there are no other nominations for vice president, then Margie, please call the roll.
Ms. Murphy.
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber.
Aye.
Mr. Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Mr. Marhol.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next officer is the secretary. So for the benefit of the new members, the secretary does not, we have got two notions of a secretary. We have a board secretary who signs legal documents on behalf of the board and reads things like the consent agenda. And we have a district secretary, which is Margie Schuler, who takes the minutes and that sort of thing. So there's distinct roles. So at this point in time, is there a nomination for board secretary?
I'm going to nominate Joel Marhol.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations for board secretary? And is that a role that you are
Yes.
serving? Margie, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Regan.
Aye.
Ms. Murphy.
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi.
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber.
Aye.
Mr. Marhol.
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Margie. We next move on to the appointment of committee chairs. We have 3 standing board committees, which are the Education Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Policy Committee. So at this point, are there suggestions for the Education Committee?
I think we should continue with Sherry.
Does we have a consent on the board on that continuation?
I think Sherry's done a fantastic job, and if you're willing to continue, Sherry, I think that's great.
Sure, there's a lot, I'm still learning, there's a lot to learn, but Meryl's been wonderful, so.
Great.
You guys stay together?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. So Sherry, if you're willing to serve as the Education Secretary for 2 more years, then we have a Education Committee Secretary, Chair. The next committee is the Finance Committee. Are there nominations or suggestions for the Finance Committee Chair?
I'm going to suggest Rich again.
Are there any other suggestions for Finance Committee Chair? Any comments? I think Rich has done a fantastic job over the last 2 years leading finance and facilities, and I think he's the perfect person for that position. So
I agree.
if there's a board
I agree.
consensus, then and if Rich is willing to do that for 2 more years, then
Thank you.
yeah, great. Last we come to the Policy Committee. Policy Committee Chair takes the releases from the IASB and disseminates them to the board, and it also works with our board members to sort of work on individual sort of tailored policies for our district. So are there any suggestions for a Policy Committee Chair, or any possibly of the new board members who might be interested in that role?
I'm happy to serve.
Okay. Any other comments on that?
I'm happy that Dan is happy to serve.
All right, well, it sounds like we have a new Policy Committee Chair. We also have then a number of liaisons to various organizations within the district and with outside the district. One is the PTA, PTO Council, which is the council of the presidents of the PTA and PTO. And Linda's been serving in that role and doing very well. I don't know if that's something that you would like to continue, or...
I would gladly do it if nobody else was interested
I
in
think
it.
you're perfectly suited and well received.
Okay.
Is there a consensus then? Everyone's good? Thanks, Linda. Okay. Next, we have an EdRed representative, which is, EdRed is the consortium of suburban Cook County and Collier County school districts that represent the interest of school districts in Springfield, and also keeps the districts informed of what's happening in Springfield as regards to education policy. So that commitment is essentially you attend a couple dinners every year, and then get back to the board with any updates. So do we have any volunteers for that position?
Do you want it?
If you want.
You'd like
Yes.
to do that, Joel? Okay, great. So Joel will be the EdRed liaison. We also have a liaison to the IASB, which is the Illinois Association of School Boards. They have several dinners throughout the year, and they talk about different topics that are current in school board issues. So do we have a volunteer for that position?
I can serve on that.
Okay. Dave Versati will be the IASB representative. We also have a representative to the REC, which is the teachers union here in District 96. I served as that liaison last year, and I don't think I ever attended any of their meetings or in any way liaised with them. So it wasn't a very onerous position. Are there any volunteers for that this time around?
I'll do it.
Okay, Rich. Okay. Is that? We also have a behavioral interventions committee. I think Sherry, you were on that this last term.
I'd
Is
be
that
happy to do it
you'd like to
again.
continue?
Yeah, Pam does a wonderful job.
Great. Okay. Sherry will be the behavioral interventions committee representative. And finally, we have the technology steering committee, where we have 2 new board members. We're already members of that committee, so I don't know if both of you want to continue in that capacity, or if one of you wants to do it. I mean, it's totally up to you guys.
I mean, I can do it again. Happy to do it again as well.
Is a
I gotta watch
rotation
what
ever
I'm saying.
possible? What if is it odd to rotate them, or
Yeah,
just
I think it's
whatever?
really up to them. I
We
mean,
could
I
probably
think,
talk to Mr. Tufano too and see how that
yeah.
would work. Yeah.
We talked about that last
Right, because you already know them, so.
rotation.
Yeah.
would be great.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you guys can work it out then somehow.
Okay.
Sure.
Sounds good. All right, so that's all of the appointments. So now we have 4 action items. The first is the establishment of regular meeting dates. So the regular meeting dates are going to be the same as what they have been. The business meeting will be the 3rd Wednesday of the month, and the committee of the whole meeting will be the 1st Wednesday of the month. So is there a motion to approve the establishment of the regular business meetings, dates, times, and locations as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Margie, will you please call the roll?
You know, I did have one thing
Yes.
to ask. Are we going to make sure that it aligns with the calendar for the school year? Like
So we should probably look at some of those dates, like,
There are a few
certain of
dates.
the,
Yeah.
there's a few dates.
There's a few dates going forward. There's 2 that fall over winter break.
Okay.
There's one, I believe, falls on the 4th of July, one falls on the 5th of July. So
Okay.
there are a couple.
We might have to modify as we go.
Right.
So we
And
can
I've
make
marked them, if you open up your attachments,
Okay.
especially particularly the committee of the whole meetings seem to be more impactful. So those are marked with a little asterisk that you can,
Right.
so
if you want
typically
to
we move
change.
those off of a school
Right.
holiday schedule or like the 4th of July. I think we even, I don't think we canceled that one, yeah.
Any other comments or questions about the dates? If not, then Marjorie, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Marhol?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Mr. Regan?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Margie. The next item, we don't have to vote on it. It's apparently the IASB recommends that you don't necessarily need or maybe should not even vote on having the policies continue, the current policies continue in place, because according to the IASB, the policies exist independent of the board and they will continue unchanged until they're changed by a formal action of the board. So there's no need to adopt them again, because they will continue in without our action. So they recommend, in fact, that we don't adopt them. So if everyone is okay with that item, then we will not vote on that. Is there a consensus on that?
Yep.
Okay. Next item is authorization of signatories for board in addition to the president and secretary. So the signatories would be the president, the vice president, and the secretary. Is there a motion to approve these 3 signatories?
Motion to approve the 3 signatories?
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, then Marjorie, please call the roll.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Marhol?
Aye.
Mr. Regan?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Margie. And the last item is the authorization for the signatories for the impressed accounts and financial reports. The 3 people that would be able to sign for the impressed account and financial reports would be our superintendent, Ms. Ryan Toy, Ms. Brownlow, and our new finance director, Mr. Holmes. Is there a motion to approve the following positions as having authorization as signatory on the impressed account checks, as well as financial reports sent to the school township treasurer and the Illinois State Board of Education as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? If there's no discussion, then Marjorie, please call the roll.
Mr. Regan?
Aye.
Ms. Murphy?
Aye.
Mr. Marhol?
Aye.
Mr. Hunt?
Aye.
Ms. Kleiber?
Aye.
Mr. Barsadi?
Aye.
Mr. Miller?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thanks, Margie. So those are the formal business items. We now come to the acknowledgement and appreciation, well-deserved appreciation of our outgoing board members. So I think, Martha, you had some
Sure. Sure, I just
some
wanted
tokens,
to, we do have some tokens, but I also just wanted to say a few things. I wanted to particularly thank Randy and Rachel and Mary Rose for your work as board members. I know we really just got to know each other this past year, and on that level, I certainly want to thank you on a personal level for being the board members that were part of my hiring and welcome me to District 96. So thank you very much for that. But I also just want to say that certainly there's, I think being a board member is a volunteer commitment, perhaps unlike no other that I'm aware of. And I know that this work has taken hours and hours of your time, and I know that school districts, I believe, are certainly complex and very uniquely individualized places. So I thank you for taking the time to understand so much about school districts and certainly the important work that goes on through governing, through policies and personnel decisions, financial decisions, but doing that as good stewards of our taxpayers, of the taxpayers of District 96, and also doing it in the best interest of children. So for that, I want to say thank you, and the district does have a few just tokens here that we can share, and then I think Bill House from REC also wanted to say something.
I just wanted to say, on behalf of the members of the REC, we'd like to thank you for your time and effort and commitment to our board, and we wish you good luck in all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
I actually had a few comments too on behalf of the board, and what I'd like to concur with what Martha said and what Bill said, and I'd like to add that the amount of personal time, commitment and time and energy that these board members have devoted to the school board over the last 4 years is incredible. Since Randy, Mary Rose, and Rachel were sworn into office in May of 2013, the school board has met something like 131 times, by counting. And each of them participated in most of those meetings. So to give some context to that number, 131 times, that's the same as meeting every single day of the week, 7 days a week, for almost 19 weeks. So if we started today, we'd be meeting every single day until the second week of September. That's how many nights of their time they've given up from their families and their jobs and other activities for the school board. And it's not just the time at the meetings. There's time before the meetings to prepare for the meetings. There's time spent in school board trainings, there's conferences, there's workshops, and there are many other things that these board members have done in their 4 years. For just to give a couple of examples, Rachel was on the collective bargaining agreement, and that took many, many hours of time. Mary Rose has done a tremendous amount of research on things like policies and procedures and contracts from not only our district but other districts, which has been very informative to the board. Randy's worked a tremendous amount on different areas. For example, last fall, he took a very careful analysis of the life safety report that the architect came back, and we had to go through several iterations because he caught many things that were not quite right in that, and that's very important for the safety of our students. So all of them have done a tremendous amount of work above and beyond the time in the meeting. So, and it's not just a question of time. It's also, there's a tremendous amount of thought and attention and mental energy because the issues that come before the board are oftentimes very complicated and nuanced and quite thorny, the governance issues that come before us. So they had to devote a tremendous amount of their mental energies to trying to unravel some of the things that came before the board. So in light of all that, and on behalf of the board, I'd like to recognize Randy, Mary Rose, and Rachel for their admirable public service over the last 4 years.
Does anybody want to say anything as you get your token here?
Thank you. That takes a talent, that's a talent, right?
So did any other board members have any other comments about? Thank you.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you very much.
so I think we have some refreshments here. Maybe when we adjourn the meeting, we can have some refreshments. But if there are no other comments, then thank you again to the departing members. And the future meeting dates, the next meeting is May 17th, 2017. It'll be at 7 o'clock here at Hauser. If there's a closed session for the new board members, we have a closed session at 6:30. And so depending on the meeting, you'll have to look at board book to see if we have one or not. But the meeting, so if there are no other comments, then the meeting is adjourned.